What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerd herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. Today I'm going to talk about basically two articles that kind of match up for what I want to talk on here, and it's no surprise what I'll end up being talking about. The first thing is an article, there's been a few of them now, but discussing that they're taking out the Wilhelm Scream from Star Wars movies from now on. They're not going to be in Star Wars movies anymore. Now, I know that this didn't start directly with Lucasfilm, but it has been an iconic thing in all of the Star Wars films. Why are you taking this out? Why did Disney purchase this for $4 billion, and now every decision they make is just to try to make it be less and less like the Star Wars was, that made all the money, that made it this big, huge cultural thing. And now they just want to take it apart. They're changing the way the Force is, how it's been used. They're completely, ruining the original characters. I know some people are going to say they're not ruining them. Well, it's absurd. I've got plenty of videos that we can argue it on. And now they're just trying to take about even the little pieces of it. I get at some point C-3PO and R2-D2 is not going to be able to be in the movies. That's fine. At some point, story-wise, when you expand it, they're not going to be in it. The Wilhelm Scream should be in there forever. And the worst part is in the article, they say they did it because they even use a line from Kylo, and they said that it's like how Kylo says that at some point you just need to let the past go, kill it if you must. I mean, they just ignore how divisive this movie is. Whether you liked it or not, it's divisive. Rotten Tomatoes is at 48%. And you can say, oh, well, there's bots. First off, Rotten Tomatoes said that wasn't true. Second off, there's 200,000 votes on that. 200,000. So 100,000 people wrote it in. 100,000 fake things sent in there. Give me a break. Open your eyes. Pay some attention to what's going on. First off, you destroy one of the fan favorite by a vast majority. There was an article, I'll link it down below, where they researched this, the searches that were done online prior to The Force Awakens coming out, and Luke Skywalker was one of the most searched names by a very large margin over any other character. Second was Han Solo. Guess what? They're both dead. And the vast majority, we'll just say at least half, and that's a large number, are not happy with what you did to Luke. Even people that like the movie, they're like, yeah, no, not a fan of what you did with Luke there. I mean, you do that, it's divisive. Hold off on some things maybe. Yes, I know they had already chose not to have the Wilhelm Scream in The Last Jedi, and it was also not in Rogue One. Why continue that? There were some people that missed it. They wouldn't have known. Why are you going to just throw that out? An iconic thing that a lot of people love to look for and catch as an Easter egg in the movie. It's one of those things that it pulls you out of the movie a little bit when it happens, but it's one of those things that it's kind of like pulls you out, but then it's like, Star Wars. I'm in a Star Wars movie. It's that little kind of somewhat cheesy thing that fits with Star Wars. And yes, that can work as cheesy. Not a porg flying into the window. Is that what we're going to start doing every single episode now? Is that the new thing? He says they got a new design, a new sound design that they're going to start adding in, that they've already added in, that at some point you'll begin to pick it up. I don't care. I don't care. Star Wars is A New Hope. It was Star Wars. And then as more movies came, it became A New Hope. You can't just destroy everything that existed there, or it's no longer Star Wars. It's no longer what made it special. And this watering down of everything that has to do with Star Wars, which is what's going on now, is going to make it irrelevant. Before it was creating the culture, and now it's trying to do this new thing that it's just do you not care about your fans at all? Is there zero care for the fans in any way, shape, or form? And I think the answer is clearly no, there isn't. Kathleen Kennedy said herself that she's not catering to the male fans. I hate to break it to you, but that is the majority of your fans. That's also the majority of those that buy the toys, that go and see it on many occasions. Now, I agree there are some female fans, and they are some that are equally or even more of hardcore fans than some of the men, but that's a minority. When you get to deep hardcore fans, it's a minority. It's not disparaging at all. It's just a fact. Why are you going to just throw out that fan base like crazy? Just like you destroyed one of the favorite, most iconic characters. Why? Whether you disagree or not with how Luke was handled, there's a clear anger about how it was treated. Now that rolls me into the second article, which was an article done by, I believe, comicbook.com, and I'll post the link down below, where some information has come out with some comments from Mark Hamill and some other things, and about episode 9. Now, recently we had heard that Colin Trevorrow told Rey about it, and she was bawling after hearing what the story was. And then now Mark Hamill was apparently a huge proponent of what was happening. And apparently the reason he got fired was he completely disagreed with what Ryan and Kathleen were wanting to do with Star Wars and Luke. He asked to keep Luke alive. Hey, just keep him alive. You can screw him up however you want in episode 8. Just let me have him in episode 9. Let me do some stuff. He was writing the script, and it was going to be something, and there was going to be a really strong bond. I believe they call it some kind of force affinity connection type thing between him and Leia. And that was going to be developed by him. Of course, that would have run into an issue with Carrie Fisher's unfortunate death. But he had some big plans with Luke, and Mark Hamill was really excited about this. Now, Ryan can go and say, hey, JJ, why don't you change it to where Luke's not floating rocks anymore, which is what fans would have absolutely loved to see. And they'll take it out for Ryan. But hey, let's go ahead and do this. Let's take it out for Ryan, but no, we won't do anything for you, Colin. A simple thing at the end of the movie, just like you did with Force Awakens. Just, hey, let them do that thing. Let them fall down. Don't make them die at the end of it. Just one little touch. But no, they wanted Luke dead. They want to get rid of everything that has made Star Wars Star Wars. I get it. At some point, Luke's going to die. He could have died in episode 9. Now, the way apparently Colin's script went, he wouldn't have really died. It would have been more of a handing off everything to Rey at the end, and kind of like an old Western style walking off into the sunset, which I would have thought would have been an amazing ending, even especially if you could have taken some of the cheesiness that made zero sense in Rian Johnson's and have him walking off into twin sunsets. But that can't happen because Disney, they can't have Luke. They can't have any of these characters around anymore because that's what the fans want, and they don't want to do anything. They want to butcher the fandom. We see what happens when you butcher the fandom. You lose a lot of money. And now you might say, oh man, but they've made so much money. You have no idea. There was an article written that said they've already made their $4 billion back. Well, that article is just wrong. I mean, it's just flat wrong. There's people writing the articles not paying any attention, and they're basically tricking people. So let's just break that down. Force Awakens made $2 billion. Rogue One made $1 billion. The Last Jedi's made $1.3 billion. It's a little bit over that. But we'll just say $1.3 billion. So that's $4.3 billion. You say, well, see, they did make more. Well, let's look a little bit closer. As Rose would say, let's look closer. $4.3 billion. Now, 50% of that goes to the movie theaters. Oh, crap. Well, that already, now they're at $2.15 billion. Dang, okay, so they're not even at half yet. Okay, well, that sucks. Oh yeah, they got to make the movie. That's about, we'll just safe to say $200 million per movie. I mean, they usually fluctuate between 200 to 250 million dollars. So let's just say 600 million dollars. Man, now we're at 1.6 million dollars or 1.6 billion dollars now? Wow, and then you got to market it, which safe bet on market's at least $50 million a movie. Actually, it's probably closer to 100 million, but we'll just say 50 million to be fair. Let's just say at best they've made $1.5 billion off of these 3 movies. Now, is that bad? No. Have they made back their $4 billion? Absolutely no, not even close. Not even close. Now, what about toy sales? Toy sales have dropped 50% over the last year. Now, how could that be? Could it be because the fans, the hardcore fans, those that I've been talking about, that will really care about things like the Wilhelm Scream existing, and things such as like, oh, I don't know, Luke Skywalker not being a coward and not being dead? They might be ones that would buy stuff. It's interesting. 50% drop before the divisiveness of The Last Jedi. And how does Disney handle this? How do they go about saying, how can we fix this? They call the fans stupid fanboys. They say they're threatened by women. They say that we're just some bigots and sexists and that, we just are struggling with our own toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's a smart way to handle it. That's a brilliant way. That's exactly why The Last Jedi just dropped at the box office. And you say, no, it didn't drop. It made so much. Yeah, well, let's just compare. Week 1, which would be the box office based off of the prior movies. Because like me, I paid to watch it twice, opening night, and I did not pay to go back and watch it again. Why? Because it was terrible, but I had already purchased it before ever seeing it. Like a lot of people did. And it made $220 million. $30 million less than The Force Awakens. Now, if you continue that on the same pace to make Force Awakens that got to $2 billion, that's 8 times the amount of money it made over the long run. You do that as well with $220 million and you get to around $1.7 billion. So did The Last Jedi lose money? Yes, it did. It was projecting out to close to $1.7 billion. The fans did not like the movie. At least half of them didn't. And it made $1.3 billion. That's a $400 million loss. Now, is that just chump change? Is that nothing? And a lot of people say, well, so they still made $1.3 million. Well, let me ask you this. I've said this in some comments to a few people, and I'll say it here now. If you if you're expecting to make $170,000 this year, and so you go out and you say, I'm going to make $170,000. Let's go on a couple of vacations. And let's build an addition onto the house. Let me lease this new car. Your bills run up to $150,000. You're good. You still played it smart. You gave yourself a $20,000 gap right there. But then at the end of the year, you only make $130,000. Now, the vast majority of people will sit there from the outside and go, wow, $130,000. That's $80,000 over the average income in America. You're rich. You're great. Aren't you happy? Only an idiot would say they're not doing well. Well, but you're actually $20,000 in the hole, aren't you? You're in debt. Now, don't you think Disney probably spent a little bit more money after what happened? Don't you think they were probably riding high, feeling confident? They hired Rian Johnson on to do a whole nother trilogy before the movie even came out. You don't think maybe they spent just a little bit more money? And that now that $1.7 billion that they didn't get but only got 1.3 didn't affect them a little bit? Maybe we start caring about the fans a little bit. Maybe we start thinking about those people that we just call stupid fanboys. Maybe we listen and say, some of the arguments they have, they're reasonable. Even the critics that you listen to that give it an A, give it a 90-something rating, they'll say, oh, I give it a 90, but in the explanation, they'll be like, Canto Bite made no sense. That was really terrible, actually. And, they'll start pointing out issues in the movie, like whole chunks of the movie. And then they'll be like, but I give it a 9 out of 10. What? If it was anything but a Star Wars movie, this movie would be rated so terribly low. If it was a Transformers film, it'd be rated in the 50s. No question. Zero question. But because it's a Star Wars movie, and because we gotta kind of act like we're this higher level, like, oh, well, you just didn't get it. You can't understand true film criticism. You know, the humor was so eloquent. The boldness to do the strategy. I already made a video mocking the whole concept of trying to act like we can't get it, or you just need to see it a bunch more times. I understand the film. I can run right through every little moment and scene that happens in the film. I get it, it's subjective, and I'm not saying that people that liked it, that you're dumb or anything like that. I'm just saying that the argument that the people are making against us that dislike it, as if we're just bigots or sexist or we're afraid of women, is absurd, and it's stupid, and it's causing you to just tumble down the hill faster and faster. And all these people is just trying to act like that there's no signs of bad, that there's no signs of issues happening. Now, whether or not the vast majority of people will actually go to watch Solo, I don't know. Most of my comments are people saying, I'm not watching Solo. I'll wait to see what your review is. And I've heard a lot of people say they're not going to watch Episode 9. Again, we will see when the box office happens. Because, it's easy to say stuff. We will see. I get that's a fair response. But when's the last time somebody was like, I'm not watching a Star Wars movie? When was there that much cry out? Before it was, just say Star Wars and a date, I'm there to watch it. But it's not that way anymore. Because you haven't cared about the fans. And in the article that I'll again have linked down below, Colin Trevorrow made a comment. Obviously, he's working on the new Jurassic World, the new Jurassic Park trilogy. And he made a comment because he did the first one, Jurassic World. And I guess he's an executive producer over the next one. He made a comment and said, we're definitely, aiming at making sure we build new audiences, but we're never going to forget about the old audience, because without them, we're nothing. Now, the article comments that this is probably a dig at Star Wars, and probably is, especially if what some of the article is suggesting, that he was basically cast out because he wanted to do something with Luke. He wanted to make the fans happy. He's a fan himself and wanted to do something to please the fans. And that just can't happen at Disney nowadays. And so he made a little dig at him. One little thing I'll just add in there, that was another issue, was he was wanting to build out Snoke. Give a backstory, explaining a character. It's a bold thing nowadays. But, giving some characters some depth. Explaining someone that everyone wanted to know. Responding to fans positively. Not responding to fans by writing an entire script to mock them like Ryan did. I don't listen to the fans. I just, I write what, I would want to write. Says the person that has Rey speaking that her parents are nobodies. Saying, my parents are nobodies. Which makes zero sense logically. No human responds when someone says, who are your parents? Nobodies. They don't say that. She would have said, they're drunkards. Like, it was as if the character knew that there was this world of YouTubers talking about who her parents might be. This is the just insanity of this. Just how stupid this stuff is. And if you're going to slap the fans in the face and spit on their face over and over and over again, and it may seem like, it's just the Wilhelm Scream, who cares? But it's another thing added on top of, after The Last Jedi and after the divisiveness, of just continuing to pile on. I mean, if you would have came out and said, hey, yeah, we get it, it's divisive, this is the decision we made, we love the fans, we're sorry that we bothered you, something. Show that you gave a little bit of respect. Say, hey, we made this decision and we hired Ryan. This is what he wanted to do, and this is the way we were going to go. We hear your complaints, we'll keep them in mind, and we'll push forward to try to make sure we can please everybody going forward, but the story matters most. All right, awesome. I got it. You're not here. I'll complain about Last Jedi still because I don't like it, but I'm not going to complain about Disney. If I post this video out and everyone that's a subscriber of mine starts saying, hey man, yeah, some of the stuff you said I don't like, I don't like this, don't like that. What do you think the smart thing would be to do? Ignore them and do more of what I'm doing, what they're complaining about? Or listen and make some adjustments? Do I change everything I want to do for that? No, I don't. That would be, I've got to stay true to myself. How I want to do things. But to ignore it is just stupid. I mean, those are my thoughts. It's insane. I'm speechless by all of this. It's just, every day another article comes out building onto this stuff. And I don't know what, even those of you that like The Last Jedi, if you consider yourselves an older fan, just imagine if you didn't like it. How would you feel if you didn't like this movie? And you could pick little reasons. Think of another Star Wars, your least favorite Star Wars movie. Now imagine if you don't like it, and imagine all these things being said to you and talked about you for not liking them in this way, how you would feel. Would you feel like, hey, Disney's, this isn't right? I've made your salary. I pay your bills. Treat me with some respect. Anyways, those are my thoughts and feelings on those. I'm sorry I missed a video yesterday. I'm trying to put together a few things that taking a little bit of time, and excuses. I didn't put a video out yesterday, but I'll make sure to continue to post a video, at least one every single day. I might post 2 the next couple of days as I'm trying to put some Rebel stuff out before the season finale. But sorry I missed yesterday. It will hopefully not happen ever again. Thank you guys as always for watching. I look forward to hearing all of your thoughts down below. I'll post some videos up right here, and again, the links to some of those articles will be down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and never forget, you nerf herders, I love you.